The various
Let's go. It's your host, Nick Perrette, and you're listening to Commercial Roofing Radio. This is the hottest radio station in the roofing world. We are your favorite place to hang out, learn, and shoot the shit. So sit back in your truck's chair, relax, and enjoy the show. Welcome back to Commercial Roofing Radio. We got another fantastic guest in the house. I am very, very excited about this one. We got Luke Sutton in the house. My boy, a friend, a client of ours. Great guy with SES Waterproofing and Roofing. He's been in the business for quite some time. He actually started out with the family business, Sutton Contracting, about 20 years ago. So this guy's been in the roofing space for about 2 decades. He started his own company out in Dallas, Texas. One thing that I love about Luke too is faith-based values, right? And so he utilizes some great technology. He's very faith-based, good person, right? Roofing for good. Luke strives to create life-changing roofing solutions for his community. And today we're lucky enough to be joined by him to share some good details and his story. So Luke, what's up, my man?
Nick, how are you, sir?
Oh, I'm fantastic.
Quite the intro there. I hope I can live up to all that.
Oh, I got no doubt, man. So you started in the family biz. So you're second gen contractor, hey?
Yeah. So I was working with my dad doing general construction back when I was like a kid during the summers when I was off school. And I was already managing projects by the time I was 18. So I got a really early start working in the family business. And I've just kind of grown up in construction. Kids going to school, teachers ask you, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? A lot of people say firefighter, attorney, doctor. I said I want to be a contractor. Mm-hmm. I'm not really sure why, but that's just what I've always wanted to do. So I grew up to do exactly what I wanted to do.
Do you look up to your dad then? Was that kind of what the case was? Was just kind of looking up to him and kind of wanting to follow in his footsteps?
I'm sure that was part of it. Yeah, I'm sure that was part of it, Mm-hmm. But I like the process. I like the people. So I'm very relational. I love all the people that I get to meet in construction. And just the satisfaction of the before and after pictures of what we can do for people, especially working in the industry we do with the before and afters for the existing structures where things are a mess and you come in and you make such a difference for those people and how that just changes their life. It seems like a small thing, but it's really not. And so it's great to feel like you're a part of something bigger that really helps people.
Yeah, that has purpose. It goes a long ways. You're helping other people out. So you were 18 years old and you were managing projects.
Yeah.
What kind of projects were you managing? Tell me a little about that. Were people taking you seriously at 18 years old when you were managing these projects? Did you have some hiccups dealing with that and kind of getting some I guess, respect in terms of what you're capable of doing, managing these projects?
That's a very insightful question. Yeah, I had to fight that growing up because, people didn't take me seriously until they saw what I could do. Mm-hmm. And so, I could go in there and say, hey, I'm running this project, I'm managing this project, my crew will be here today. And they would kind of look at me like, you're crazy. And then we'd show up and we had some great crews. And we're really efficient. We're really good at what we did. And I've always been super driven, worked really hard, and willing to do whatever it takes. And in construction, things don't always go right. Mm-hmm. And so what really shows your character and shows who you are is what you do when things go wrong. And so you give me a couple of weeks with a customer, they'd absolutely love me. But I had to prove myself because, man, you're just a kid, It's like, what is this?
You had to earn your stripes, man. You had to prove yourself. Yeah. There is no doubt, man. I remember it's kind of a little bit of a different story, but, when I was about 17 years old, I think it was, I was selling cars, right? So during the summer, I would sell cars at Wild Honda, pre-owned vehicles, certified vehicles, right? And it was me and a bunch of other people, other, salespeople that were 40, 50 years old, right? And I'm trying to make people go with me. So I completely get that, right? You got to work hard for it. You got to represent, you got to earn those stripes, but no excuses no matter what.
That's right.
So you're in your stripes, 18 years old, you're managing projects, all that kind of stuff. At what point did you know that you were meant to kind of start your own thing, have your own business?
Well, I feel like I always ultimately knew that's where it was going. As my dad got older, he moved more into consulting, and he was really, really good with numbers. He's better with math than I am. And so he was going to move into something that was less liability and more of a semi-retirement where he'd never really retire because he wasn't the type that would. Driven as well, but at some point as you get older, your priorities change and your capacity changes because you can't work 60 hours a week anymore.
Yeah.
So I knew that's where he was going, and I wanted to specialize. I had always had bigger goals and dreams than he did, and I saw that general construction, it seemed too general for me, and I know there's some amazing general contractors out there doing hundreds of millions. I always wanted to be a specialty contractor, and I wanted to really be the best at what I did. And I wasn't confident that I could do that as a general contractor. And I want to do that as some kind of specialty contractor. So I always knew that's where it was going. I just didn't always know when and how. Because when you're young, you don't know what you don't know. And you just have to keep going and try to find some good mentors and learn all you can.
Yeah. So was the mentorship, was that mostly your dad, or did you find other people that were kind of help you along the way when you were starting the company?
I found other people. I did. And so I got my start in my family's business, and it absolutely, it set up the trajectory of my career and the direction that I went. But I've met so many people along the way that have just been absolutely monumental, from all walks of life. And it just seems like every couple of years I meet somebody that I just learn a tremendous amount from. So I've been really, really blessed with that. And I think a lot of that has to do with my focus and how I interact with my customers, because some of my customers have ultimately become mentors for me, and just the relationships that I've built in working for business owners. A lot of people we work for have a wealth of knowledge, and if you can establish a relationship with them, not only are you going to be transactional with them and they're going to help you provide for your family, but you can learn a lot from them and have friendships that last for decades.
That's a great takeaway. I like that a lot. Right, you're in a good position where you're working in the commercial space with a lot of successful people, right? And a lot of these people who own these commercial properties, they're very successful. They know what they're doing, right? They got to this point for a reason, and you have the ability not only to serve them, right, and have them be one of your clients, but to actually learn from that. And I actually feel the same way too. I love when we get like a really dialed in roofing company that we're working with, and I can just tell whether it's operationally, sales, whatever it might be. I'm like, man, I got them some things to learn here, and so that's always exciting. So go a little deeper into that. Like,
Sure.
Tell me about some of these relationships. What are you learning from them? Are you asking them certain questions? Are you trying to just network and hang out? What does that look like? Because these contractors out there, you're listening. Hey, they're not just going to be your customer, but they might be able to kind of help you get to that next level as well.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. So obviously with relationships, you've got to take your time. So there may be, some networking and grabbing lunch, and, initially you're probably going to help them solve a problem, maybe a small problem. They may just have a simple repair or something like that with the building envelope. That's how we start a lot of our relationships. And some of them may be, grabbing lunch. I had one customer, he was a machinist, and he set up this air pistol target in the back of his shop, and he was building like these monster air guns. It was super cool. The guy's a genius. And he's like, man, come over Saturday, let's shoot some air guns and stuff. And, so we're having fun together, right? And there's a place for that. But just being around these guys, I learned so much. And seeing what they do, it helps you understand your customer. So if you're working for an investor and you want to know more about triple net lease, the more you can learn about that. Whether or not you ever want to be a commercial property investor, if you understand commercial property investing, when you talk to these people, you know how to help them. Because it's not just about solving the water problem that's coming into the building, it's how they're going to fund it. The first step of solving the problem is, how are we going to fix this roof, or how are we going to fix this leak? But the second step is how are we going to fund it? Is it going to be an insurance proceeds? Is going to be some type of finance? Is it's going to have to be CapEx? Do I have to budget for it? And so one of the obstacles to overcome in high ticket sales is how are we going to fund this? How are we going to make it pay for itself? Because these guys, they're not looking to spend money in their building; they're looking to make money.
Yeah.
So understanding how they think, how they operate, you learn a lot of great business knowledge that you can also apply to your business. But the fact that what I love so much is what I learn about their business and what I know about them. And it really helps you understand your target customer. And the more you understand them, the better you're going to relate to them, the better you're going to be at solving their problems, and the better you're going to be at just connecting with them and closing deals.
I love that. Obviously, Luke, you're a great guy, but there's a reason why I wanted to have you on the podcast, right? I just feel like,
Cool.
we talk to contractors all over the country. I just had a feeling with you that you kind of look at the business side a little bit differently, right? Your perspective is a little bit different. I think you're
Sure.
more of a long-term thinker, right? I think you're very good at systemizing things. You're really good at understanding the customer and providing the correct solution, right? I mean, all those different things, did that kind of just come about? Did you always kind of have that mindset in business, or where did that come from?
Yeah, I mean, I think part of it probably comes down to who you are and just how you relate to people, right? And I'm in the service industry by choice because I like to serve other people. And we talked about, foundationally, that's about being a part of something bigger than yourself. And that's great. It only goes so far. And so like practical application, I think it's things that I picked up from just doing it, as well as picked up from people that were doing it around me. So learning from mentors, as well as just getting out there and getting in front of people and really figuring out what works. Because if you don't have a sales process, you can't sell work. If you're not selling work, you can't build an operations team. And that sales process is going to have steps, and everybody's sales process is unique to them.
Yeah.
But if you don't have a written sales process, you're probably missing out on a lot. And once you have that written sales process, you're never going to skip those steps. You're going to follow those steps, and you may even add steps as you learn and you grow in communicating with your clientele. So I think it's something that's really evolved over the last 2 decades for me personally.
You mentioned sales process. So sales process, when did you put energy into the sales process right up front? Did you kind of build that along the way? How did that go?
So, I mean, like I said, you're young, you don't know what you don't know. So I caused myself a lot of problems. I wasted a lot of time. I made a lot of mistakes. But when I did make mistakes and I wasted people's time, I always made it up to them. And that's the number one thing. I'm not saying go jump into an industry and mess something up for someone and don't stand behind it. Never put yourself in a situation that you can't follow through and absolutely deliver 150% for that customer. But I did learn a lot of things along the way. And yeah, I mean, there's no substitute for the school of hard knocks.
You got to pay
And
the
if I
dumb
had to do
tax.
it over again, I would listen to my mentors a little closer. But the fact that I had them and I did listen to them was very beneficial. And where I didn't listen to them, I made mistakes. I held myself accountable. And you take care of people, and you don't have to burn bridges.
Yeah, did you have any expensive dumb tax that had to be paid out in the beginning? If so, I want to hear some.
Yeah, I've had some dumb tax. I have. You learn pretty early on. Waterproofing, it's a high liability trade.
High liability. Oh yeah.
It just is. And the things that make it low liability is the understanding and the process and the systems and the experience and the knowledge. And some of that can be taught. Some of that needs to be learned slowly. If you try to learn it all at once, you're probably going to have a hard time.
Yeah.
So you never want
100%.
to bite off more than you can chew, so to speak.
So why did you pick roofing then, man? Why did you pick roofing and waterproofing? Why, like, how you wanted to be specialized? How did it end up in this space?
I like the space. So we're building new buildings, and I'm building new buildings with my dad, and I'm seeing this huge market for maintenance on these buildings because the warranty only lasted for so long, and they continue to have problems. And it seemed like the most problematic callbacks that we had were something to do with water infiltration to the building.
Yep.
And sometimes it had to do with the elevation around the building. Sometimes it had to do with a window, a door, walls, downspout that was plugged up. But I would say 80 to 90% of the time it was the roof. And so for me, roofing, the focus on roofing was just focusing on what I saw as the highest maintenance segment of the exterior envelope maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
It was just the part that was going to be the most focused on, the most demand on. And I really wanted to be more of a service and maintenance contractor.
Yep. I love that. The maintenance side of things, man. We're gonna be talking about that for sure, because that's another thing that I like about you. We were talking more about you serving the customer, long-term mindset, everything like that. One question that that made me think of when you were talking is, did your pitch? So did your pitch during COVID time, where maybe finances were tight for a lot of these commercial property owners, or does your pitch where if they're saying recession's on the horizon? Does that pitch and conversation change? Because one of the biggest things that you talked about was we need to figure out how this is going to get paid. This guy or woman is trying to get this property to generate revenue, not put money into it.
Sure. Yeah, I think if your communication doesn't you have to adjust to the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you're not sensitive to what your customer's facing, you're not customer focused.
Yep.
So it comes back to being customer focused. That's kind of the broad answer. Specifically, what that looks like to me is, I don't watch the news. It's depressing as hell, unfortunately.
It is.
But there's so many exciting things in the future. And for us as commercial building contractors or roofers, there's essential businesses everywhere. And they're going to continue to get funded, and they're going to continue to make repairs. And yes, budgets get cut sometimes. I remembered in 2008, 9, 10, it was a different way of doing business.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I think that we're going to be facing anything like that again. I think things go up and down, and I don't really focus on that. I just try to focus on the customer and what the customer needs and make those adjustments. And sometimes you're going to be selling a lot of roof replacement. Sometimes you're going to be selling a lot of service. Sometimes you're going to sell a lot of roof coatings. Just focus on what the customer wants and try to help them get it. And if you can get the customer what they want, you're going to get paid. And that it's not affected by the economy, not big picture.
Mm-hmm. And I agree with that, right? So first off, I agree with a couple of things you said here. Don't watch too much in the news, right? There's statistics that show you will be more depressed if you watch 5 to 10 minutes of the news every day. You will be more depressed, right? They focus on a lot of negative things, right? Also, the way you're operating your business, do not allow it to give it an opportunity to yourself to create excuses, right? But at the same time, you mentioned, hey, know your customer, right? Who is your ideal customer? And one of those things that clues is what are their pain points? What are their struggles? What are they worried about? All that kind of stuff. So when they get put into those, financial pinches or whatever it might be, maybe that's going to be a high priority to them, is to figure out how to make sure this is a solution that fits their budget. So I completely agree, though. Do not let that make any kind of excuses. With you being out in kind of the roofing capital of the world, if you will, right?
Yes, it is.
Dallas. I mean, let's be for real. It is crazy, how many contractors are out there. How does, if you're in the market, how do you kind of separate yourself from all the noise? I mean, how do you make sure you get your piece?
Sure. For me, and I know there's a lot of great contractors in my area. I know there is. There's a lot of them doing it right, and hats off to them. I think I'm probably one of the most customer-focused people in my industry. And we've diversified a little bit. And a lot of that has to do with my background and how I got started in the industry. It has to do with my team, too. I mean, this isn't just me. It's my team. I got some absolutely phenomenal people at SCS, and I'm super proud of how they take care of all our customers. And I just want to stay focused on giving them what they need. I mean, these guys have got background in all kinds of things all around really our target focus. So we've diversified a little bit with building envelope. The highest maintenance piece of the building envelope is obviously going to be the roof. So we do a lot of commercial roofing. We do a lot of other things too. And we've got a lot of relationships with anything from light structural to even some interior guys. And so we focus on the customer and we give them what they need. And so far, we've been able to do that without diversifying so much that we become all things to all men, and there's no clarity in our mission and our vision. But still diversify enough that we're not as impacted by events like COVID, or there's some years that CapEx just locks up, and it did during COVID. I mean, I had a ton of CapEx just say, you know what, we're going to wait 2 years.
Yeah.
But there's service, there's maintenance, there's other things. They spent that money, or they spent part of that money somewhere else. So you may go from hitting your numbers with 100 customers to needing 300 customers to hit your numbers. That's a big obstacle to overcome. And there's going to be years that are tougher than others. But if you stay focused on the customer and you have a really well-educated team around you, and you can diversify a little bit without watering down your mission and your vision, it's helpful.
How has that process been? So, obviously when you went into this, you said, hey, I don't want to be offering every single service, right? You made the strategic decision to add some more capabilities. Yeah. Why did you do that? What does that look like, at an operational standpoint, financial standpoint?
So if you're in a very competitive market, you have to get creative. And so for me, at some point, it seems like in my area where there's a million roof companies, and people are just tired of roofers reaching out to them. So, I have my skill set. I can't change who I am, but I have to look at ways that I can use that skill set to serve my clientele differently, in a different way, and somehow find a gap between trades that other people are overlooking. Find a pain point that maybe a customer doesn't even know that they have, and show it to them. And if you can make a difference, you can help them, and now you're selling jobs again. So it's been a process. It'll continue to be a process. Ask me in 5 years as I scale it, how it goes. But so far, it's been awesome, and I would not have it any other way. I like variety, and we've been able to kind of find that balance between some variety, some diversification, without just doing everything. And that's so important as a contractor, especially if you got a really skillful team and you start doing everything. It just kills your business, and it kills your ability to scale.
Yeah.
So it's something I wake up every day and I look at how we can continue to find that balance. And I just try to lead out in that in the company and stay focused on the customer.
And there's no right or wrong answer to this, right? I mean, at the end of the day, if you're creating a business that you enjoy, that it is profitable, right? Obviously, the numbers make sense. You found the model that works for you, right? And make sure that you're watching those numbers, right? And I agree with the variety thing. I know how it is doing the exact same thing over and over again. It does, right? Variety is the spice of life, they say, right? So it does spice things up a little bit as well. But we're going to be bringing guests on here. You'll be hearing from different places and different platforms. Hey, this is the way to run the business. This is the way to do it. There's no right or wrong answer necessarily, right? So find the model that works for you. If it makes sense with the numbers, perfect. Another thing that you mentioned too was the people, right? You said you were able to get a good team. Completely agree, right? Your responsibility as a leader is, hey, take care of your team, make sure they're successful, and then they take care of the customer, right? Yep. So I completely agree with you. How have you been able to kind of develop that team? How has that come about?
So we're a little different. And that probably comes from the fact just how I kind of grew up in construction and how I ended up in roofing. I think most people that grew up like me probably would end up being a general contractor. And so the fact that I'm in roofing, and when I first got into commercial roofing, I wasn't even doing insurance restoration. So that makes me a unicorn where I'm at in my industry. We're a different kind of contractor. And so I'm attracting and recruiting people that may or may not even be in roofing. They may be in some other type of construction, but they like our mission, our vision, and our values, and they're aligned with where we're going. They're smart, and they want a great opportunity, and they see that's what we have. So being different is good. Everybody's, no matter how competitive your market is, if you're in a growing area like we are here in Texas, I mean, it just seems like everything keeps coming here. And Austin's just blowing up, and DFW's blowing up, and there's so much growth and opportunity. Don't be afraid to be you and to come to the market and the industry with your unique approach, and you will attract people that align with that 100%. and you're going to get lots of customers as long as you stay focused on the customer. They're going to be attracted to your specific way of solving this problem for them, and they're going to choose you out of however many other options that they have because they want to work with you.
Be attractive, right? Be attractive. Be attractive place to work. Right? Be attractive company that people are looking at like, hey, we want to work with them, right?
That's
so,
right.
And a lot of that is just brand, communication, right? Presentation, all that kind of stuff, right? Customer experience or the experience that the employees are having working for you, right? Feeling like they're being part of something, right? So it is possible to find great people, right? You need to be an attractive place to work, right? And then from there, make sure you're giving them opportunities to grow, develop, be part of it. So with you being out in Dallas then, is with the competition, is the hardest part, would you say, is the hardest part the introduction then? Like when just getting, people to hear you out? Or what do you think is the hardest part of being in such a competitive market? Because I feel like, so if I own a property, I'm just saying, if I own a property in Dallas and I'm getting hit up by roofers all the time, whatever it might be, right? Is that the hardest part, to break through that noise, or what's the hardest part, would you say?
From a marketing standpoint, yes, because marketing is very competitive here. Now, as soon as myself or one of my sales team gets in front of people, no.
Then it's game over.
Because we're different. So either we're a fit for them or we're not. If they already have somebody else, that's no harm, no foul, right? We're not going to take up any more of their valuable time. But if they have a problem and it's the problem that we can fix and solve for them, it's game over, like you said. Do you come out dressed nice like that? You're looking nice and fancy. For those who don't know, I listen to the podcast. Luke's a very good looking dude. He's got a nice button up shirt today, looking fine, looking fresh. Do you show up? Do you show up like looking fresh and point, or what's your appearance look like when you're showing up? It depends who I'm going to go talk to.
Yeah.
So we're targeting commercial asset owners and managers. So the managers, those are probably going to be the guys that I go play golf with anyhow. So I might show up in a polo,
Yeah.
So, I just, do our best to read the room. I mean, at the end of the day, it's who you are, but appearance does matter. And just, I think that dressing, in a neat and professional way, it's just showing respect for the customer.
Yeah.
So depending where I'm going, if I'm going to meet an asset owner in an office up in a high rise, I'm probably going to wear a sport coat. So,
depends on the situation. It goes back to reading the room, right? Reading the room and then adjusting accordingly. Yep. So I know you're very faith based, right? So tell me a little bit about your background there and kind of how that's come about into the culture of the company and how you operate your business.
Sure. So our first company value is God first. And so for me, I can't separate my faith from any part of my life. My career is a huge part of my life. My family is a huge part of my life. My kids, my friends. And so I've learned quite a while ago that trying to separate out parts of my life, like, well, business is over here and family's over here, it just never worked for me. And for me, I just want to be authentically who I am, and who I am is faith-based. So, it changes. It's changed my life. I grew up around church. I grew up around faith-based people, and so I've been mentored by a lot of faith-based people, mentored with a lot of kingdom principles, and so that's how I operate my business. It's what works for me, and servant leadership. I'm not afraid to roll up my hands and help my people. And so I've got a great relationship with the people in our company, and it's what works for me.
Absolutely. We're just talking about building out your team, building out your culture, everything like that, having those core values, what you're all about, and preaching those, right? Not only does that set the tone for the people that you currently have on your team, but we're going back to attracting, right? You want to make sure you're not attracting anybody. You want to be attracting the right people, right? So if they see that and they're interested in that kind of culture, they're going to be a perfect fit. They already know what you're all about, right? And so you got to think too, if I'm somebody who's looking for a new career path, right? And maybe I was in a situation where I didn't feel valued, or I didn't think that the business was operating the right way, and now all of a sudden I'm looking and I see, hey, here's SES, they got good reviews online, they have, they play the part, Luke seems like a servant leader, they're really faith-based. Chances are I know I'm in good hands, right? So, employees, of course, as you're building your team, want to make sure that you're there to help and achieve what they want to achieve as well, right? It's not just about your goals too. So I think that that's a perfect way. I did want to ask you, do you have any highlights of your time in the commercial space? Any kind of projects or any kind of moments that really stick out as a good memory of your time in the space?
Man, I have so many good memories. I think the hard part's going to be separating out a couple, whether it's just relationships that I've built, fun that we've had together. I mean, primarily in my career, after I left my family's company, I've been in Texas, so I haven't got outside of the state. But there's a lot of area in Texas, whether it's working in Amarillo, at a high security facilities, to down on the coast, and, going down and fishing with the operational guys, and it's fun. I can't tell. I love what I do.
Yeah,
and I love getting away and going out and hanging out with the guys and fishing or enjoying whatever area we're working in, if it's down on the coast. But I've had so many highlights. I think some of my first big, like, high-rise type commercial projects were a pretty big deal for me. Just getting to that point where I could successfully bid and solve those problems for customers. I think, you network and you try to get in front of people and you work your way up, and all of a sudden you start finding yourself in some pretty big rooms with some pretty important people, and then you're playing golf with them and you're talking about life, and it's like, okay, this is fun. I might make a career out of this after all. So there's been so many of those little times along the journey that you got to sit there and smile, man. It feels good. It's like, this is what I've been working for.
Living the dream, man, right?
That's
Fishing,
right.
golfing,
Right. Yeah,
you name it, getting out there. It kind of brings me to my next question, because that's a huge positive on the commercial side, right? If you're looking at the residential side, more of a transactional, quick, knock a door, it's over with, put the roof on, maybe you want to talk to them yet, right? You're really nurturing relationships, and you're building these relationships for long-term success for you, and then also for that property owner who's now has a resource, right? Because you're a tool in the tool belt, right? You need all these different tools to make sure you're successful as a property owner. Hey, I got my roofing contractor, I got my resource here. How do you kind of split up, your nurturing time and making sure you're nurturing relationships versus like new business development? Because I think that a missed opportunity I see a lot on the commercial side is nurturing relationships, right? And taking care of those relationships and maximizing those opportunities.
It's because it's tough. Because nurturing the relationship can be expensive for the contractor, not the customer.
Oh yeah.
And when you have opportunities flooding in, it's like, do I follow up on this $500,000 project, or do I go talk to this property owner that I've been working for that I haven't made a ton of money for yet, and they've got a $2,000 problem? And that's, you've got to have a strong company set of values, and you just have to be accountable to them. That's the only answer that I've found. And we don't drop a customer to go after. It's not the shiny ball where it's like, oh, they want to have another job, let's go grab that. We can't be distracted. We have to stay focused. Now, if we're consistently missing opportunities, that's a big problem, and we need to bring in some more help. And maybe we got to work the weekend. It's construction's feast or famine. So I'm very familiar with that. Whether it was general construction growing up as a kid, or commercial roofing, or now commercial building envelope. I mean, it is feast or famine. You may have a week that's a little quiet, and you're getting caught up, and it's great, and you're having some great lunches and playing golf and having some good interactions. And, this is fun. And then the next week, it's like a ton of bricks. It just unloads on you. And you've got to stay true to your company values. Yeah, you just have to, and you just got to take it in the order that it comes. And if there's emergencies that can't wait, you're going to work late. You may work the weekend. You make the adjustments. And fortunately, I have a team of people that they're willing to be committed at that level. And so we make the adjustments. But I mean, if you're working back to back 80, 100-hour weeks, man, this industry can get demanding. It's no joke. And if you're working that many hours week on week on week just to follow through with your commitments, you have to scale. Like, there's no question. But even if you scale and you're staying on top of things, you're going to have a week like that every now and then. And if you're going to be in the industry, you're probably going to have to be okay with that, or miss opportunities. For me, I really hate to miss opportunities. I mean, you see somebody with a problem and you can help them and they're ready to talk to you. Like, I want to go talk to them, but I'm not going to drop my previous customers. I'm just not. I may not go to as many networking events. I may miss a networking event every now and then. I may reschedule a golf game, but I'm going to stay in front of my customers, and so is my team. We have to. It's what we do.
Yeah, I have a lot of follow-up questions on that one, because I think that's like one of the. I think that's hard. I mean, that's hard for me even, right? If you're looking at,
Sure.
I could go one by one trying to get new customers, right? Which is going to be great for us. Find the right fit, find the right customer, get it all set up, right? But then there's also same thing where it's like, hey, maybe we get strategic partnerships that can open up other doors, right? And you have to make sure that you're kind of diversifying your time appropriately, right? I could be going out with manufacturers, playing golf and everything's fun, and like all of a sudden you said this, and all of a sudden, boom, 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 right? So it's like, do you have any advice on like how do you? So let's say that like you get a relationship with somebody, maybe you get like a repair work or something, something small to kind of get that. You guys have some rapport, and they have a big portfolio. What does that look like for you? Do you have a plan? Is it kind of like depends on the situation? What does that look like?
I could probably take advice from you, Nick, on staying focused, because like what you just described, I could sit here and talk like, oh, I'm the pro. I've been doing this for two decades. There's people doing it for 3 and 4 decades.
Yeah.
And they know so much more than I do. You probably are better at this than me, because I may sound like I have a plan today, but I have 5 great opportunities hit my inbox tomorrow morning. I'm going to struggle with that.
Exactly.
But the only way that I know to really combat it is just stay true to the company values. I mean, we're God first, we're accountable, and we're transparent. And so if transparent, accountable means accountable with numbers too. So that means
exactly.
As a company, if you can't afford to miss opportunities, you got to tell your customers.
Yeah.
So if you have somebody and you're not making money with them, and as a company, you have to make a change, go talk to them. Be honest with them. Just tell them the truth. I want to help you, but we're really busy right now. I'm not going to be able to get to this small repair till next month or next week. Have relationships in the industry you can refer them to. Just be honest with it. So there's been times that I've had to do that. But if you have a set of values that you have to go back to, I have to be accountable. I have to be accountable to what I tell people. Always do what you say and say what you can do. It goes a long ways with commercial asset owners and managers. Construction, it's feast or famine, and it's really easy for contractors to get severely overworked, and they get to the place where they don't care, and they stop being accountable, and they stop doing what they say and saying what they can do.
Yeah.
If you find yourself in that position, if you're in the industry, you will stop and just hit the reset and don't do it.
Yeah.
Not if you want to build long-term relationships. If that's your goal, that's a must. And so I hold myself accountable to that every day. I fail, I make mistakes. I pick up the phone, I call people. I told you I was going to get that to you today. I didn't. I don't have any good reason. I really apologize. I appreciate your patience. If you're still interested, I'm all over it. But it's going to be today now, not yesterday like I promised.
So yeah, that's well said too, because you're having the quality communications where you're letting them know it's not going to happen, but then you're also not following it up with an excuse. No. Right? Like that gives me I get so frustrated when people are like, oh yeah.
No one really cares.
Nobody cares. It's either done or it's not. You know what I mean?
Oh, your kid's at an event at school. Handle your business. Right?
Yeah, handle the business.
You told me it's going to be today.
Yeah, exactly. But then the thing is then with you going, hey, I'm taking full responsibility, there's not a whole lot that person can say. As soon as someone takes full responsibility, they're upset about something not being done, or whatever it might be, it's like, all right, well, they took full responsibility. They apologize. I mean, it is what it is. I guess we'll wait till tomorrow. Customers are really going to communicate that. I mean, that goes above and beyond. I mean, think about how many roofing contractors would even call and let the person know that it's going to be delayed. Not me.
Yeah, no. No, if you don't do what you say and say what you do, and you're working for a commercial asset owner, I mean, you really have one shot. I mean, if you BS at one time, it's over. Now, if you're a human and you fail or make a mistake, yeah, that might be over too. But most likely they'll come back. And most likely, if you're just honest with them and accountable, they'll give you a couple shots. 3 strikes and you're out. So usually you can make a few mistakes and it's okay. And even if they get a little upset at first, those relationships come back usually.
Yep.
Because they go to somebody else and that person just lies to them all the time.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? Maybe Luke wasn't too bad. I mean, he's human. He made mistakes.
Yeah,
exactly. At least he owned up to it. I'm going to give him a call.
And he was fun to golf with.
Right?
He was fun to golf with, too.
Yeah, he wasn't very good, but he didn't take himself serious enough. He let me win.
Yeah, he let me win. Yeah, he sucked at golf. This new roofer is too good at golf. I got to get him out of here.
I'm super competitive. With golf, I have to kind of turn it off. Otherwise, I'll be angry and I'm a bad person to be around.
How long you been playing?
I don't know, maybe not that long, probably 15, 16, 17 years.
Yeah,
I played a little like when I was a kid, and it never really stuck. I started playing baseball, and I kind of picked golf back up when I got into business for myself, just because I saw it as an opportunity to do something other than work and
Tough
still kind of work and have relationships.
Hey, if you want to find a way,
Tom Brady says that football's easy, golf's hard. So. I'm not saying I'm necessarily a Tom Brady fan or not, but he's pretty good at what he does.
Hey, he's the GOAT. He's the GOAT. I'm not a fan of his really, but he's the GOAT.
Yeah, I respect him.
Oh,
unless
same
he's
here.
Playing against
same
my Cowboys,
here.
Then not
same
so
here.
much,
Yeah, 100%. Well, yeah, 100%. 100%. But that's another tip for those out there. Hey, if you're a commercial roofer and you haven't learned how to golf yet, maybe go get a lesson or something like that, so you can go taking people out. How many kids do you have? You have 4 kids, or how many kids do you have?
My wife and I have 4 kids.
4 kids, and then do you see them? Is there any possibility of them getting into the contracting world, or any of them getting into the contracting world? What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's going to be up to them. My parents never pushed me. They let me make my own decision. I wanted to be a contractor. That's what I wanted to grow up to do, and so that's what I did. So I'm not going to push my kids. I'm just going to give them the facts and let them make the decision with that. So
I love it, man. I love it, man. Well, hey, so it's been a pleasure. We got a couple little more segments here for the show. A ton of good nuggets that people can take and think about in terms of growing their business, how to operate their business, focusing obviously on the customer. I think it's been my biggest takeaway, which I kind of knew from our conversations with you, and I think that's what the big differentiator. So everything that I talked about, being open to service, being a long-term thinker, relationship driven, all of that really comes down to being customer focused, right? It's hard to do, especially when times are tough or whatever it might be, or if you're kind of desperate for that next big sale. You know how it is, right? There's ups and downs in business, but no matter what, it goes back to sticking to those values and being customer focused. So the 2 things we have left is we have who wants to be a roofing millionaire. All right, so I got 5 questions for you. And then from there, we're going to end with enlightenment. So it's this quick thing. You either share a book suggestion, a quote, a life lesson, anything that could be a positive impact that you think, right?
All right, what you got?
For the millionaire? Well, so let me say this. So you got 2 lifelines, okay? So we just added these in. We're still kind of figuring out, right? You're the 5th episode right now. So we got 2 lifelines. We got the 50-50. That's going to remove 2 of the wrong answers, leaving you with a 50% chance of getting it right.
Probably the only help I could get. That's good.
Then we have a phone the friend. So we just did a podcast episode 4, which was the first phone a friend. We had somebody call Paul Reed, who's in the commercial space as well, and he did not know the answer. It was when was TPO first installed? He was 4 years wrong. It was actually 1986. So we're gonna have some that's gonna be related to you personally, and some that's gonna be related to roofing. Okay, so
all right.
The first question, all right. Even the hail is big in Texas. What's the largest hailstone in diameter recorded in the state of Texas? Is it A, 2.5 inches, B, 6.4 inches, C, 3 inches, or D, 8 inches?
So you said C was 6 point...
B was 6.4. So it's 2.5, 6.4,
Yeah.
3, and 8.
Yeah, I think it's either going to be 6 or 8. Everything's bigger in Texas. I don't track hail as close as some, but I am fascinated by these weather events as storms we get. I'm going to go with 8 inches. There had to be one. Maybe a couple of them got glued together. Let's go with the 8-inch one.
Unfortunately, it's B, 6.4.
Okay. Yeah, 6.4.
A lot of these are going to be pretty tough. I'll just be honest with you. The last guest got 2 out of 5 right. So.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I probably should have went safe, but, I'm having fun.
You're having fun. Go big or go home.
Yeah, we had like 5+ inches last year down south. So, yeah.
That's
what
a
I was
big
thinking.
one.
Surely at some point, in the last 100 years, we had an 8-incher.
There was some. Dallas has been already getting hit this year, and then I was watching. There was a big hail yesterday too. I think it was. It wasn't in Texas, but there. It's coming down. It's coming down. Minnesota got hit.
Kansas got hit.
Yeah, Kansas, Nebraska looks like Nebraska got over 4 inch. That was like pretty big.
Those are scary. Those are scary size bombs.
Those are scary size. I remember we had
just smash everything in sight.
It was the last time we had a legit storm in Colorado, so it was like 3 years ago, I think, and there was huge hailstones falling from the sky, came through, smoked the Colorado Springs zoo, and then ended up killing a couple animals and stuff like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, it just looks like dinosaurs went through there and just smashed everything.
Seriously,
it's so destructive.
Yeah, it's crazy. All right. So you're a big Dallas Cowboys fan, all right? So prior to 1960, the Cowboys actually had a different name. All right, so they were called the Dallas A. Spurs, B. Rebels, C. Steers, or D. Ranchers.
I should totally know the answer to that.
I didn't even know this was. I didn't even know about this until I found it.
I knew about this. I can't think what it is. I'm going to take a guess. I'm not going to go with the Dallas Ranchers. That sounds kind of made up.
It does, doesn't it? Eh?
Yeah. Maybe you threw one in there to throw me off.
Yeah, it wasn't the goal. Throw you off.
So
Come on, this ain't child's play.
Yeah, the Spurs. What was that? What were the other two?
So we had Spurs.
Yep.
Rebels. Steers or Ranchers.
Let's just go Spurs.
We have the right answer is C, Steers. Man, we got you some hard questions.
Yeah.
I used to put these.
I'm probably just not that good at it, but I'll get to the next one.
I used to put the questions together. Now we have Danae on the team. She's putting together the questions, and man, she's not easy. All right.
It's a challenge.
Yeah, it's a challenge, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, so you've been in the roofing industry for years, and you stand the test of time, but not everyone passes with flying colors. The business administration reports, the Small Business Administration reports that a percentage of roofing contractors fail within the first 2 years. What percent do you think it is? Is it A, 80%, B, 60%, C, 25%, or D, 50%?
So statistics, I understand their place. It is what it is, but I think it's 80%.
Let's go. We got one. We're on the books.
Yeah.
And we're off and running. And we're off. Let's go. That's big though, man. 4 out of every 5 contractors within the first 2 years will go to business.
You have to be a little crazy to want to be a contractor or an entrepreneur.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. You got to be a nut job. You got to be a nut job.
You got to be a little off.
Little off. But, I mean, usually, I feel like, if you're meant for it, though, for the most part, right? Because you weren't good at anything else. Or at least I wasn't. So then this is how I ended up here. So, SES headquarters is located in the Fort Worth area. Fort Worth has many attractions that make it known nationwide, but specifically has the largest A, monster truck show, B, grocery store, C, rodeo, or D, honky tonk.
So probably the largest monster truck show is going to be the Monster Jam at the Cowboy Stadium, which the kids absolutely love. I actually like that too. It's pretty fun.
It sounds pretty cool.
But it's going to be the rodeo for Fort Worth. Fort Worth Stockyards is legendary.
So the answer in this one is honky tonk, which I don't even know what that actually is.
Yeah, Billy Bob's. Billy Bob's is the world's largest honky tonk, man.
Yeah.
If you come see me, I'll take you there. It's fun, man. Concerts, live music. Yeah.
I might have to check that out. That sounds like a good time. 100,000 square feet, along with 20 acres for parking. It's one of the most popular tourist attractions in the state.
You can play pool and then walk out the side door and watch a bull ride. They have live bull riding right in the honky tonk.
Wow!
So if you can ride a bull inside the honky tonk, it's pretty good size.
Wow!
They've got a concert stage, dance floor. They've got an in-house barbecue, so you can eat barbecue, grab a drink, play pool, dance, watch a concert, and bull riding.
No kidding.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous, but it's cool.
So we got one more question. It's another Dallas Cowboys question. Before I say that though, who's your favorite Dallas Cowboy player of all time?
So there's so many good ones that just I feel like changed football.
Mm-hmm.
But for me growing up, I think that it's hard to pick one out. If I want to go way back, it'd be Roger Staubach, just because I feel like he changed the perception of what an NFL quarterback should be, could be, and would be for the future. But as a person, someone that I got to watch play, and he was hurt most of the time, it seemed like. But Romo, I've always been a Romo fan, even though it didn't really work out great. I just think he's an awesome guy, and if he could have stayed healthy, and if we could have got him an O-line, he could have really went places.
Yeah, I think there was some missed opportunities there for sure. I felt like he was either getting hurt or we had the play where he was still holding for the extra points, and then we had that issue. Like you said, the offensive line wasn't.
It just didn't come together, man.
Yeah,
it's more than one player. It's the whole team. It just didn't come together.
Exactly, and he's actually from my area. I'm pretty sure he's actually from the Wisconsin area too. So
I think I remember seeing that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So represent there. I love. Yeah, Burlington. Looks like he went to Burlington High School. So I love that. It's Burlington, Wisconsin. All right. Yeah. So the last question that we have here is: who was the first Dallas Cowboys to win the NFL MVP? Right? Was it A, your boy Roger Staubach? Mm-hmm. Was it B, Emmitt Smith? Was it C, Troy Aikman? Or D, Michael Irvin?
I think you said MVP.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I'm trying to think of like when they started a little NFL history there. I think they all did. So I'm going to go with Roger as a safe answer.
So it's actually going to be B, Emmitt Smith in 1993, which is kind of crazy to think that was a running back because we know
Emmitt Smith
how
was just an animal.
Oh yeah, he was an animal.
Guy's a monster.
But I mean, it takes so much though to try. Yeah, I mean, think about what kind of season he had. You know, to win MVP as a running back. Whew.
He was a bulldozer.
Man, he was a beast, and he was longevity too, right? He was one of those guys that just kept coming, man.
Yeah, he's a freak of nature. For sure.
Yeah, let's see if I can find those stats real quick here. Hold on. Let's see how good this guy played out. Yeah, I mean, he was a baller. Mm-hmm. Looks like he had 1,700 yards rushing, 18 touchdowns, so over 100 yards a game rushing. Yeah. Beast. All right, so it's been a pleasure. I really appreciate, like I said before, I think my biggest takeaway has definitely been customer focus, right? Mm-hmm. And making sure that everything aligns with that. Now, and with some alignment, man. We've been lucky enough to hear some great stories, to get some great information, and now end it with one last nugget. It could be the book, whatever life lesson, whatever you want to do.
There's so many good books out there. I don't think I could pick one. I've got them all behind me. Some of them behind me there, and I have more bookshelves, but. I think for me, something I've noticed too in the last couple of years, and I'm not naturally a patient person, so I understand this, but people expect overnight success. And I know for me as a person, I see people do it every day. We really overestimate what we could accomplish in a year. A year goes by pretty quick. Not that what we do every day isn't important, but we really severely underestimate what we can do in 5 years or 10 years or 20 years. It's shocking. And for me, being able to now look back, it's a perspective shift. So we overestimate what we can do in a year, but we really underestimate what we can do in 5. Consistency is key.
True.
If you have a clear mission, clear vision, clear set of values, put the pieces in place, trust the process, and stay consistent. You'll get there, and you'll go past that. But it may not be the first year. It may be year 5. It might be year 10. And as long as you're committed to the process and you know you're being true to yourself and who you are, you're going to get there.
I like that a lot. I like that. That even kind of goes back to one of our questions about 80% of these companies are shutting down, closing shop within the first 2 years, right?
Yeah.
I think entrepreneurship or other big long-term goals. I think that people who think they can get everything done in that first year and all of a sudden it ends up taking longer than expected. Maybe they give up that consistency or that, consistent input that they're doing every single day because they were expecting those results quicker, right? But the people who were able to kind of hold on, keep pushing, keep driving, and understand that, those big things that you want, not everybody has those things, right? Or not everybody achieves those things because they weren't able to stay in it for as long, right? It might be, like you say, it might be 3, 5, maybe even 10 years to get where you want to go, but keep on trucking because consistency is really hard to beat.
That's right. And I even break that down, just kind of that perspective. I break that down by the day and the week too. Because sometimes you have days where it's just you get so much pushback. You're like, what the heck? I didn't get anything done.
Yeah.
So we really a day goes by fast. And like I said, I'm not minimizing the importance of every single minute of every day. Make them count, right? Stay focused on your goals and stay focused and true to who you are as a person. But a day goes by fast. A week is a little longer. A week goes by fast too.
Yeah.
But it's still a little longer. So we overestimate what we can do in a day, and we underestimate what I know I do, what I can do in a week. Because out of that week, if I'm working 5 or 6 days, 1 or 2 of those days, I may not hit everything I want to hit. But by the end of the week, I've hit that and beyond.
Yep.
So don't be afraid to trust the process. And if the process doesn't work, don't be afraid to make an adjustment. Keep making those micro adjustments.
Look, even the years seem to be going even quicker as I get older, man. It's already June already.
It gets worse. Yeah.
It gets worse, man.
Yeah, that's what look forward to. We both do. Yeah.
Well, Luke, man, hey, we got Luke Sutton with SES. Absolute pleasure. Really appreciate it, man. Really impressed with what you got going on over there. So thanks for sharing the insights.
You bet. I'm impressed with what y'all have going on too. So
appreciate
you guys need to talk to Nick over there at Peak Leagues.
Little
keep
plug.
you busy. He's gonna keep you busy.
Love it, man.
No, really, I love you guys' approach to B2B. I think that's really what we connected on. Y'all get it. You get the relationship part. So
and I appreciate it. I can thank too, another Chris with my business partner. He's got a great mindset with that, and so that's kind of where he came with the B2B space. Absolute team goes back to the team, man. So Luke, thank you so much for joining. Make sure you guys tune in for the next episode.
Thanks, Nick.